Tell them.
Hey there, viewers. Welcome back to the South Main
Channel.
Channel.
You got to say it with some enthusiasm, girl. Hey there, viewers, and welcome back like that. Come on, man. They're going to be on soon. The people will be here. Trust me.
Hey there, viewers. Welcome back to the South Main Auto Channel.
There you go. What's up, everybody? It is not Friday. Oh, this chair sucks.
It is Friday.
Or is it? What did I just say?
It is. You said it's not Friday.
It's not Wednesday. What the heck do I know?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I don't know anything.
So we're waiting for her brothers to get out of their little deal that they're at, and then we got to pick them up. So we're killing time right now. And it is a freaking torrential downpour in upstate New York currently. I don't know if anybody else is getting dumped on, man. We got flood warnings and everything. I see today's video didn't seem to be too big a hit. Not many views on that. But it's kind of snooze fest stuff. Snooze fest, I should say. Mode 6 data, blah, blah, blah. Puts most people to sleep, I think. To put you to sleep? Huh? So thought we'd pass the time and do a little live stream, see what's going on. I was in charge of making Miss Trinity dinner, frozen pizza.
It's not frozen.
Well, it was, till I cooked it on its magic sheet that it comes with. That's got to be good for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Wash it down with water. What could go wrong?
What, you did?
Yep.
Mm.
Let's see. What do we got here? When's Hannah taking over? Probably never. She's going to go be a nurse. So, what's mode 6? Yeah, right, Sam. What's mode 6? The boring stuff that nobody wants to watch. So I thought we'd just come on here, maybe check out your comments, see what's happening. Missing all your teeth. You got one coming back in though, just a little bit. See it? Yeah, there it is. Just starting to poke through. Hey, Keith's on here. You want to say hi to Keith?
Hi, Keith.
That's this one right here. New level. That's Keith.
There's my little.
That's what he says.
There's my little buddy.
Yep. So, Sam, they say it's raining in Michigan. Yeah. Thanks, Ed. I do know that some people find the mode 6 data helpful. Some others, it's kind of like I say, it's kind of, hit and miss, boring. The good thing about, mode 6 and all the 10 modes of OBD2 for that matter is they're all easily achievable by a generic OBD2 scan tool. I don't know if you guys caught it or not, but I was going to put it in the description box, but I didn't. But up on the screen, if you play that video and click that little eye up here in the corner on your mobile device or your laptop or whatever you're on, if you click that little eye, I linked 2 videos to Motor Age. Pete Meyer did a 2-part series on all the modes of OBD2. Modes 1 through 10. Essentially, he breaks it down. I think he does like modes 1 through 6 in one video, and then or 1 through 5, and then like 6 through 10 in the next video. So make sure you check that out. He gives a pretty good explanation on all the different modes of OBD2 and the value that they have in diagnosing stuff. We don't always need vehicle specific data. Sometimes we do, but don't touch that, man. There is a lot of a lot of useful information that can be found. In mode 6, not just for misfires. I'm talking catalyst efficiency. How did it fail? Why does my light come on and go off and come on and go off and keep throwing this code? You can look at mode 6 and we'll get right to that, El Vero. You can look at the mode 6 and you can see, is that catalytic converter just on its threshold of the maximum or the minimum limit allowable, and that's why the light kind of comes and goes, and it can give you a kind of an overall eye health check on that to see where that's at. All kinds of valuable information in there. And like I say, not all scan tools take the hexadecimal and turn it into normal people speak. So sometimes you have to have factory service info to decipher it, the X's and O's and ones and zeros and dollar signs. But so what's this guy right here? Car stalled on a highway going 90. No compression on 3 cylinders. 30 on number 1. No shavings oil. Timing belt is fine. Bent valves, rim exploded. Wow. Haven't checked it. If it jumped timing at that speed, would it have been catastrophic if it did? So that's a good question, Alvaro. So a lot of people think when their car, let's say, and I get this question a lot about, cars that come in and let's say, we identify it. Sounds like his car jumped timing, perhaps, from the sound of it. If he has no compression, either that or shear to keyway, something like that. But I have had people ask if, I started my car and then the timing belt broke. It's probably okay, right? Because I wasn't driving. It honestly makes no difference. If you're driving down the road at 90 miles an hour, 60 or whatever at, 2,000 RPMs, 1,500 RPMs, or if the belt breaks at an idle at 600 RPMs, it's still going 600 RPMs. And the fact of the matter is, if it's an interference engine, it only needs to go 1 RPM, to crash the motor. It's only got to go around one time with the wrong timing and the whole thing's kibosh. So, idle speed, or idling versus driving down the road, timing belt breaks. If it's going to crash, it's going to crash, regardless of the speed you're traveling. So, hopefully, that makes sense to you. But if you've got no compression on 3 cylinders, that's bad news bears for you. But thank you for the super chat. That was more than generous and definitely not required. So I think that's probably all I had to talk about. It was probably a Ford by a Chevy. Oh, man, we got a Chevy guy in here. You like Chevys?
Toyota.
Oh, you like Toyotas? What kind of Toyotas? Toyota what? Just all Toyotas? Yeah, pretty much. Parenting done right. Yeah, like J.C. Smith says, it's okay. They're all junk. As J.C. Smith, the Ford guy. So what's everyone up to tonight, man? We have had a super busy week here. I'm glad to have actually gotten some videos. I think I have 4 or 5 of them up in the queue for you, which is pretty cool. I'm usually not that far ahead, especially this time of year when it gets, crazy busy.
Where's Gavin?
Oh, don't tell them we're there. Oh, where's Gavin? Yeah. I didn't order my new lift yet. No, I'm not working late. Crown. I'm just here. I gotta wait. I gotta go pick up the boys in a little bit. So we're just killing some time. What's that?
It said Trinity Lake Hondu.
Yeah, Eric the car guy's rethinking his decision to buy that Mini Cooper. Yeah, he should definitely have his head examined. If you're not a Euro guy, that would be the last car on the planet I would go out and buy. Last time, BMW in general. I hang out with Keith for one day down in Staten Island. I know at least one car not to buy, and that's a BMW. And the second car not to buy is a Mercedes. William Francis says, "Hi, young lady." And he gave her some ice cream money. Ice cream? You like ice cream?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, car hoarder or not, Jimmy, I would never buy a Mini. I don't have the ability to program them, let alone work on them, nor do I want to. They're just a disaster. If I had a, AutoLogic or something, perhaps, but I don't know. No, it's not garlic bread. It's, frozen pizza, 5-cheese pizza. Yeah, and certainly I think he bought it for his kid too. He can do whatever he wants. We're not him, obviously, but I think, I likely, if I was going to buy my kid a car, maybe first time driver, and I don't know his situation, but just in general, I would buy him a car that's, relatively safe, I would say, but at least simple. I'm talking like, Chevy Cobalt simple, Honda Civic, little 4-door car with airbags and seat belts and just simple to work on, something they can work on themselves, not expensive to repair, something like that. I think would be a best, like first kid's car type thing. They're cheap, they crash it, you're not, out a ton. The insurance isn't a ton of money to own one. Yeah, like he said, everyone's first car should be a Grand Marquis. Yeah, exactly. Oh no, the contrary to what you might think, I can't ever recall. Only on big trucks I've seen. I've seen it on some cars too, and some light duty diesels where the valves do go right straight through the piston. You would have heard it when it happened. Typically on cars with the interference, gasoline engines, usually the valves, there are relief cuts in the pistons, even though there's still interference, and they'll fold over. Because the timing belt breaks, it hits the valve, and then the motor stops. I'm going to guess. And that's the end of the road. If it jumps timing and the timing belt stays hooked up and it comes up and it just smashing the peanuts out of the valves, at that point, yes, you can break, the valve off of the valve stem. Then it gets on top of the piston. Then it just continues to just beat the daylights out of it. Eventually, it can break through the piston. More often than not, though, usually the valve gets beat up and it goes right back out the hole where the valve belongs. If you want to see a good example of that, go right over on JC Smith Projects channel. He did a V10 that chewed up a valve real hard, and I think it was just gone. I think he pulled the head off that, and the valve was just smashed to a Tootsie Roll, and top of the piston is beat up, scored up cylinder. But it's not too often you see him bash right straight through the piston and all the parts lay in the pan. He says hi. Man, Bob, you get suckered into everything. Working on all the family's cars, and I gotta go fix a neighbor's jet ski. Yeah, and he agrees. The first car was a Cobalt. Yeah, Nick, you maybe he did because there is an audience for it, but unless I was really fluent in them, I don't know if it would be much benefit. I don't know, perhaps, like I say, to each their own, but, and I don't know if it's his kid's first car or not. I haven't seen only just bits and pieces of some of the series because honestly, it doesn't interest me much simply because, if I had any customers in the area, I would just deny the work on them. I would just turn it down. But, I'm talking turning away, one car a year or something. Nobody around here drives European cars, or very few, I should say. Oh, JC, don't tell me you put dormant cam phasers in one of your Fords. I pity you if you did, because you just learned a really hard lesson. Any idea on how to fix an 04 Chevy 402 codes? Depends on what codes they are. If they're all heater circuit codes, I'd be checking the power supply because I believe they all run off the same power feed on that. But if they're all lean codes, you probably have a fuel delivery problem. If they're all rich codes, it really depends on what codes you have for O2s. There's a lot of specific O2 codes. Can you fix it by pulling the head and changing out all the bent valves, change the pistons? If a motor crashed to the point where you have piston damage and cylinder damage, you're best just to replace the engine. That's my opinion. You certainly could, pull the engine and, rebuild it and have the head repaired if it's repairable, or, buy a replacement head if it didn't, damage the pistons. But usually if it's catastrophic, it's usually not worth messing with, just in my opinion. Oh, okay. I see, JC. Oh, they're all heater codes. Well, there you go, Justin. Then, so yeah, that's my popcorn. Sounds like you have a blown fuse, Justin, or the wires that run to them. You have to check on a wire diagram. Go on bbbindustries.com. You can find their free wire diagrams on there. See where the power feed is for the heater control circuit for the O2s. Oh no, push this around. It gets really loud. Okay. See where the power feed is for it. That's likely the only thing in common with all 4 O2 sensors is the power feed. So, if the fuse is dead, I've seen on that vintage Chevy truck in our area, they're really prone to getting mouse damage up under the fuse box because they have that big plastic cover that sits over it. I've seen wires on those. I think I've done a couple of videos on these where the wires break under those fuse boxes, where they rub on the plastic, all sorts of stuff. You just replace all 402s and the cats and the fuse. When you hook up a scan to it, it reads. I mean, if you have power going to the O2 sensors and a control, then I mean, I don't understand how it could set, heater circuit codes. What's this guy say? Can failing bell timing or something just bell timing some more far off they can get. That's a great question. So his question is, can failing VTEC solenoid or variable cam timing solenoid adjust valve timing so much off at a high RPM it could cause valve damage? I would let's see. I'm going to pass that question right on to Keith. I don't know if they can adjust themselves so far that they can actually crash. Do you know, Keith? Look in the comment box here from New Level. I don't know if you heard me, Keith, or not, but the guy's question was on a failing variable cam timing solenoid, if it can adjust the timing so much that the engine can crash. I've had them stall the engine. I don't know if they can get to the point they cause interference or not. That's a great question. On stuff I've ran across, I don't believe so. But I don't know in the Euro world as far as what Keith looks at, if he's seen that yet or not. No, the first dance class is, I think it's in the book, Monday. That's coming up. Yeah, just coming up Monday, a couple days. All right, see you, Gary. What are you doing? Now let's see. Okay, so Keith wrote that he's never seen it cause any damage. Yeah, I didn't think they could self-destruct, because usually there's physical limitations on the phaser. It allows it, from lock to lock, maybe 25 degrees advanced, 25 degrees retarded, and then it's physically locked. Yeah, there's S&A Auto. He's the guy that taught you the popcorn joke. Our popcorn candle's almost gone too. Wait, what? Yeah, we burn it so much. It always smells like popcorn in here. How's the garden doing? Garden was doing good. I'm not sure after today. We've had some pretty hellacious rainstorms.
Doing good.
Yeah, I know it's doing good, but all the plants are really small. We just got pounded with a pretty heavy storm. Yeah, you do have quite the reputation. Yeah, JC said that he had a solenoid stuck, so it was fully advanced. Yeah, like I said, I've had them stall engines, run really, really rough, but never, heard of any interference and, issues. Let's see. So Benjamin says he's got a 4.6 Ford and a Thunder Chicken. Sometimes when he starts out, it makes a tick noise and goes away. Whenever you time chain. So around here, Benjamin, what I see on them is usually when the exhaust manifolds start leaking. That's usually that's the complaint I get. People start them up and they're just tick, 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 tick. Of course, they warm up a little bit and the timing changes, and then the manifold heats up and seals. Type rattly sound under the front cover, but a ticking sound is typically like exhaust manifold. What am I getting? A lowrider? I'm not getting a lowrider. I do have my Jeep out there though. We're going the opposite direction with that. The 92 Dodge Stealth with 25,000 miles on it. Wants to know if it's a timing belt. If it's a 92 and that's the original belt, I wouldn't even hesitate to put a belt on it. Or, no way. Even at 25,000 miles, just given the age, You can't stop the ozone. So I see, and I don't know if this is, true, but I mean, it appears that you guys like that video I did with Josh, and I was a tad hesitant to do it because I just wasn't sure how well it was going to be received. Josh is a big time greenhorn. Fantastic guy. You can never ask for a better employee. I've had zero comebacks from him ever. I've had to correct him on a few things, he's got a job done and say, hey, you got to do this, stuff like that, pretty minor stuff. The boy does a lot of tires, a lot of shocks, a lot of struts, a lot of, service work, tons of service work. But being that he's going through his first year of school, I wanted to, help him use what they, were supposed to teach him, which they did. I disagree with a lot of their methods that they used. It's clear to me that his teacher, highly likely does not work on cars every day or hasn't for quite some time, would be my assumption. So that's a little bit frustrating, that he's paying for college and, you expect, I don't know, I guess I expected more out of the stuff that he's, telling me. I mean, he did quite a bit of damage to his car when he was there because it was mandated that they front probe connectors with T-pins, and every single connector on his car he touched, plus a lot of other cars, are just packed right full of, electrical problems now, intermittents. And I got his car all straightened out for him, but it took several hours to go through and fix, everything they did. And they're, like I say, his teacher's method was if the T-pin falls out, shove it in further. So they do a lot of damage, not allowed to use test lights. So I'm just going to let him get through his second year of school, gain as much knowledge or theory and operation on, electrical theory, stuff like that, and then show him how it's done in the real world. If you want to make money, you want to fix a car fast, this is how you're going to do it. So hopefully that helps out. But yeah, definitely, like Hambone says, the schoolroom and the garage are two different worlds, and that's 100% the truth. So, this lady here, D6 Banky, says her daughter is saying hi to you. So say hi to her daughter. Say, hey, daughter.
Hey, daughter.
No, they're not allowed to use test lights, Sharon. But they are mandated to have a power probe. So you tell me. I mean, that should tell you the level of the teaching in that school right there. You can't have the harmless test light, but we're going to give you one of the most dangerous electrical tools you can use. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Oh, Trinity. She says her name is Josephine. So if you want to say hi to Josephine.
Hi, Josephine.
See her there. She says, hey, my name is Josephine. So I'm going to try to do the best I can helping Josh through. I had a couple, he had a couple good ones this week. I wish I was able to record. We came in Monday and the parking lot is jammed full, but I had 3 extra cars that got towed in. And I initially wanted to meet him here at 7 so we could get started early. And because we still had some stuff left over from Friday and, one on the lift, and because they were ones that he was going to, dive into a little bit more deep. And then I steered him in, kind of corrected him in the right direction, and he just pounded it. Yeah, I don't know, Blazer. I don't know if, I mean, like I said, I like my power probe. And like I mentioned in my power probe video, the tool itself is not dangerous. It's this little guy right here that'll get you in trouble. It's the pushing of the button. Let me grab, I'll be right back. Don't let anybody go anywhere. You want to talk to people for a minute? You go read the comments. Make sure they don't say anything about you, okay? All right. I got my frozen pizza.
Okay.
All right.
Frozen? It should already be warm.
Yeah, it's warm. It's cool now.
I ate mine hot.
Ah.
Mine was hot.
Dan Sullivan, one of Josh's teachers. Yeah, right. What's Dan do? Get up there and gloat about himself all day? How great is? Never mind. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. So I'll just shut up. Trinity.
What?
A girl named Gwen says hi. This girl says his daughter's Gwen says hi. Say hi to Gwen. Be like, hey, Gwen.
Hi, Gwen.
And then go like this, like, hey. You going to play?
What?
Are you playing Crossy Road?
Yeah.
Okay. Friday's always pizza. So at any rate, the first car that came in was kind of an interesting one. Even though he could have got sidetracked really good, I'll just tell you about him. Nobody said they wanted to hear about it, but I'll tell you real quick. 2011 Buick Lucerne. It was towed in. Customer left a note, says he stopped. He got 11 gallons of gas. Left the gas station. He noticed that his gas gauge was still on E. Thought maybe it was a fluke. Drove down the road like 10 miles. Car quit, and that was it. Got it towed here. We go to check it out and kind of lead them through the process, but I'll give you the short version of it. Car would crank, kind of start, stumble, stall. Sounded to me like, loss of fuel pump, something like that. Gas gauge was still on E. Of course, that's what the customer said, but he also said he put 11 gallons in it. So I check it out. It's got no fuel pressure. Pop the back seat out. These are the cars notorious for burning up the fuel pump relays. Check the relay. It's clicking. Pop it up. It's got power going through it. Go back to the trunk. Pull the carpet back. Pull the lid off the fuel pump. Check power. Got power and ground going right to the pump. However, one thing that was observed when we were in the trunk, when you turn the key on, the fuel pump was gargling. And a lot of guys know where I'm going with this, but it's a pretty unique sound when a car is completely out of gas. So I sent the intern boy that was around here, sent him down to the gas station, come back with a couple gallons of gas, put a couple gallons of gas in it, and it fired right up. So that led the big mystery to be, how did this guy get 11 gallons of gas and still not have any gas? So I talked to him on the phone, didn't want to offend him. He's kind of an older guy. When he got here, I talked to him some more. And what he did is he swiped his credit card, but apparently never finished putting in all the rest of the information, zip code, whatever else he wanted, credit, debit. He just swiped his card, pushed the button on the pump, started pumping his gas. After a little while, he looked at the gas gauge or the gas pump, seen it was off. So he's like, well, it must be it's full. Put it up, but didn't get a receipt. So then he had to go inside to ask for a receipt. And then he got a receipt for 11 gallons. But it was the 11 gallons that the previous person at the pump had pumped. So that's how that all worked out. So it was good to kind of help solve the mystery for him because you could tell he was a little bit frustrated, slightly embarrassed. I ended up putting in 18.2 gallons out of the 18. How well does Napa take care of the parts wise and speed getting them to me? In comparison, Kevin, to like Advance, it's totally different because Advance here has like usually 3 drivers, I think, at a time. Of course, we're a small town. Napa only has 1 driver, sometimes 2. But if I'm in a big pinch, they'll just pull a guy off a counter and they bring it up. Typically, my schedule like I have now is, I'm a week and a half out. So I already have all my parts for the whole week. So it's not like I'm calling, bring a car and tear it apart. Oh, I need this, bring in the next one. I need this. So all in all, they do quite well. Just in general, as far as if I had to call and make them race, usually Advance gets here faster, but you're talking, 15 minutes instead of 20 minutes, something like that. Ever have a 2009 type Caravan where the starter clicks and sounds like it tries to start for a split second, but then putting it neutral and back and parked and the car starts fine? Trundle works fine. Right offhand, I haven't, Aaron or AA Ron, however you pronounce it. What I would do, I know it's Aaron. I'm just being smart. It's a YouTube video, Keen and Peele, substitute teacher, in case you haven't seen it. Is there an AA Ron in here? So what I would do if I had that failure on a car in the shop, I would bring it in. If it did it every time, I'd bring it in. I'd put it in park. I'd shut it off. I would attempt to start it. If it just made that one click and then wouldn't start after that, I would diagnose it right at that point, because that is where the failure is. You know, when you're hitting that key, it just, you know, clicks one time. That's what I would do. Keith says here to watch Pine Hollow's video on that. I guess I haven't seen that, Keith. Ivan did a video on the same exact thing. Was it a tip 'em or something going bad in it, or? But I suppose, I mean, regardless if Ivan has the video on it, which I haven't seen, indeed. Ivan is a great guy. Oh yeah, we know he's a great guy, Keith, but did he do a video on that exact symptom of that Caravan? Feel free to post a link if you want, or if you're not driving. What am I talking about? You can drive and do this at the same time. I've been with you. '01 Subi with intermittent rich codes, hunting idle. IAC is good, no backing leaks. How about the EGR valve on that, wise guy? Some wise guy with a Subi. I'll definitely be checking the EGR valve, especially on that vintage. Transducers on those would go, and EGR valves will hang open. They will make them run rich, because that, I think that's no, that's not a MAP engine. That's a mass airflow engine. So I wouldn't make it run rich. But definitely make sure, a lot of times on those, wise guy, if you want to know if the EGR valve's stuck open a little bit, just reach your hand down and grab that EGR, you know, start the engine up cold, reach down and grab that EGR tube. If that EGR valve is open a little bit, that tube's going to get, you know, very hot to the touch very quick. Boy, I don't know, Keith. I don't remember seeing that video on his channel about the Caravan. What? You know, if you're putting it from neutral back to park, I would assume the second you hit the key, you're losing some sort of input. TDM 4x4. He wants to know how long we have Hannah and Josh back. He's not really a Jeep guy, but should we still talk to him? Even though he doesn't like Jeeps, though. He's kind of like a Land Rover guy. Should we still talk to him?
Yeah.
Okay. She says we can still talk to you. They're here for the summer. Yeah, Gearhead for Life says that, you know, linkage is stretched, not fully in park. You know, which could be, you know, very well could be, and just, you know, by hitting the key, if it's, you know, just barely in, it, you know, jars it out. That's why I say, I mean, if I got it to do it every single time and couldn't, you know, visual inspection just nail it down, like I say, I'd have that thing in park, hit the key, and then if it wouldn't start after that, I would just look at my inputs and see what's missing. Only thing is, Bill, he says he puts it in neutral and back in park, and then it starts. So I think if there was a loose wire on the starter, that wouldn't make any difference. El Cheapo says, as a Land Rover guy, he's already been punished enough, so we can talk to him. He's a Jeep hater too. Oh man, Crown's on his way home with fresh pizza. Well, we got this. If you want to come here, there's more. You can throw it in the microwave. An 01 Cadillac, when the brakes warm up, they moan like a foghorn. New calipers do it worse. Oops, I lost the comment. New calipers in the rear fix the issue. So I guess I'm unclear if the issue's fixed or not. When the brake warms up, they moan like a foghorn. Boy, Paul, I don't know. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I don't have a lot of experience in diagnosing, let's say cheap brakes. I'm not indicating that you put cheap brakes on it, or problems that derive from running metallics on a car that came OEM with ceramics. I don't know if they can start to chatter at that frequency to make an actual moan. If gosh, you said new calipers did it worse, I would think like the rubber bushings in the caliper mounts. Yeah, I wouldn't think the brake booster, Adam. Typically, he would have a hard pedal and hissing inside the car as opposed to a moan coming from the physical wheels. There's a lot of variables, I think, when it comes to brake noise. How the brake job was done. Was there, are they pads with no shims? Was the hardware replaced? There's so many variables that can cause brake noise. I wouldn't really know how to answer your question. All right, Lightning Smoker. Don't forget to crown your car, Lightning Smoke, in case you weren't thinking about it. Oh, so Sean Savage wrote that Pine Hollow does have one on a Caravan Prindle no crank. That's interesting. I'm gonna have to go. I wonder if it's an old video. Huh. Yeah, I gotta get up to Crown here pretty soon. Today is National Donut Day. If you go down to Dunkin' Donuts, you get a free plain stale donut. Yep, free stale donuts all day. Oh, I know you will, Gary. I'll give you a call. You know it. What do I charge for laborers on a GM 10 bolt pinion bearing job? I'd have to look it up, Jared. Probably, I mean, most pinion bearings, I don't know what, 4.5 hours, something like that. I think it's flat rate on it. So you'd have, 4.5, 5 hours plus, a crushed sleeve, pinion bearing if you just want to do one or both, and then the pinion seal, and then both axle seals, differential cover gasket, and gear oil. Yeah, the on the floor for 10-second donuts. Are Wagner brake pads okay? That's a good question, Mr. White Stew. A long time ago, I used to use Wagner thermal quiets because I love the idea of the integrated shim. That's a fantastic idea in the rust belt. That way, you don't get rust jacking between the shim and the pad, the backing of the pad. I always thought it was great, and I installed piles of them. I mean, a lot of them. And then about a year later, they were all starting to get about half wore out, and I started getting a lot of comebacks on those, and every one of them was exactly the same. They were light pedal pressure, high pitched squeals. I mean, everyone. It didn't matter if that thing came back on a Chevy dump truck, or a minivan, or or a Chevette. The same exact thing, and every single one of them had Wagner thermal quiets. I can't tell you how many of those brake pads I had to eat, or labor wise, because usually, I mean, they were everything was great, because it was only a year old. Rotors are still in great shape, so the first couple I got coming in, I'm like, oh man, that's kind of crazy. There's no physical evidence of anything else that causes a squeal except friction on friction. So I'd swap out the first set for somebody, and that's when I started installing. That's when I started installing the Wearever Platinums. So I'd swap them over. Boom, customer's totally happy, no issues. Next week another call. Gosh, I got this awful high pitched squeal, and like I say, you just touch that brake pedal, and they're just like, you touch that brake pedal a little bit more, gone. It was the craziest thing, but I went through so many sets of those. So my heart of hearts, I know Wagner has made a ton of changes since then. They still make that classic thermal quiet, but they make a bunch of different ones. But I am too gun shy to try them. I stick with what I know works. OEM, wherever platinums, the Napa SSs or adaptive ones. Those are the only pads I've used because they've never ever haunted me. Wagner thermal quiets cost me a lot of money. So that's my opinion. How do I feel about apprenticeships? Yeah. First of all, I don't like to babysit. Second of all, I don't know. It's difficult. I don't want to say anything without being offensive. So that's right, El Cheapo. I've used literally thousands of those wherever platinums, 0 comebacks. On my truck, I run, it's all fat, it's all OEM. I just put all OEM, pads and rotors on it. It's not about the lack of time to teach, Adam. I enjoy teaching. Well, I don't want to say teaching like I'm not a teacher, but if you ask a question and you genuinely want to know the answer to it, I'll do whatever I can to help you find that answer. And that's why I get along so well with Keith. He's the same exact way. He genuinely enjoys working on cars and figuring this out, figuring that out. And a lot of guys don't. Believe it or not, as ridiculous as it sounds, they will get in this industry for a job. And at 5 o'clock, they're nothing but taillights and, I usually say naughty word, backsides at that point. They're just out of there. I'm done, whatever. They don't care. As long as they come to work, get the paycheck, get out of there, fix some stuff, right or wrong. I see that a lot in the majority. But if I had an intern who had the willingness to learn, absolutely, and really wanted to advance himself and, learn the best he can, do the best job he could, perfect. I'm there. You get the guy that comes in who just he wants your help, but he just wants an answer. I have 0 time. I'm not like that. I'm not going to, look it up because, you're just going through the motions at that point. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know how to say it. Maybe you guys understand what I'm talking about, but I hate taking the time to teach somebody and show somebody how to do something. And they really don't care about it. At that point, I just go over and do it for them. Just like, here, I'll just do this, boop, boop, done, ship it. Let's see. Oops. That's the noise. New Akibono pads and AC Delco rotors. I'll be giving a look every weekend until it's fixed. Perhaps try it. Yeah, Paul, if that's the noise you're getting, perhaps try a different friction material. See, Akibono pad should have been an OEM pad on a GM. I believe they used, Akibono. And then the AC Delco rotors, I don't really know about because AC Delco makes a lot of, cheap Chinese rotors too. Wherever platinums, ceramic, put them on there, make sure caliper brackets are lubed, behind the hardware's lubed, back of the pad's lubed, and see. I mean, if all things considered, if that's good, then it's got, your noise has to be friction material, I would assume. Oh, Mike, the disgruntled mechanic's in here. Hoga's in here. Oh, I had fun with the Jeep. Oh, that white Jeep that we worked on, Mike. Yeah, I remember that. So I don't know what we were talking about, but that's just my opinion on teaching. It's just more fun to teach somebody that has a willingness to learn. Just because it gets you more motivated, it makes you want to learn more on your own. And I get in those slumps all the time around here where I'm just, just going through the motions, everything just, every diag is just, like the ones that had a Subaru today with a fuel tank pressure sensor code. It's everything just cut and dry. That's the next one. So I like a little mind challenge once in a while. If I go like 2 weeks without any type of challenge, whether it's mechanical or diagnostics, it gets me down. I literally will start to get depressed. No joke. I just hate I hate to stop learning. I hate to feel like I'm just coming to work and going through the motions. I like different stuff. What brand compression fittings do I use? On AC equipment, I use SUR&R, or everybody close your ears. Dorman. They make some decent ones. You didn't just hear me say that, but you did. See Mike Holt right there. That's determination. At 16, he said he changed his first engine copying pages out of a Chilton's book at the library. I just high-fived you for that one. That's what it takes right there. What do you say, TDM? What's your top tips for making a YouTube video? Got to spam you some Land Rovers. I don't know. I don't have top tips for making YouTube videos. Just get a camera, hold it, talk to it. The people will come. Oh, that's not. I shouldn't have ate that crap. A shop and toolbox tour. Those are so boring. You guys have seen most of the shop. I mean, I'm either in here in the office, over in the other, 2 small bays with my big box, or over here on Josh's side. Was it weird to talk to the camera at first? Yeah. Yeah, it's really weird. Look at my old videos. I'm like, what am I looking at? And you're afraid somebody's going to look at you and see you. But nowadays, everybody's like, talking to their cameras, and, every girl's like that, taking pictures of their necklace. So it's not as weird anymore. Yeah, I know people love them toolbox tours, Mike, but for crying out loud, it would be like a 6-part series, man. Yeah, I do want to get some more videos with Josh, and that's the thing, Dennis. Like I said, I missed 2 great opportunities this week. I should have got them because they were just great diags, where easily could have been overlooked and taken down a wicked little spiral of a rabbit hole. Do I have a Saskatchewan license plate? Yes, we do, of all things, Bruce. I've actually got a stack of plates over there about that thick. Mrs. O's got to finish putting them up. But I do have a Saskatchewan. I think I have 2 of those, actually. You want the Jeep video, Sean? Coming soon. I'm still waiting on the big kit right now. Should be here next week. If you want, Keith, give me a call. It would be a good time to do something like that. If you want to call the shop on Monday, the only reason I say that is because with Josh here, I'm actually on somewhat of a normal time basis, week and a half or so out. So if you want to give a call, of course, you're going to get nabbed by the answering machine for being an out-of-towner. That way we don't have to take the 50 freaking phone calls a day from the YouTubers. So leave me a message on there, with who you are and stuff, and I will holler back at you. Oh, yeah. Yeah, right, Bob. Like, I would let people wander through my shop and do their own toolbox tour. I'd have to have security in here. Security. I get a bunch of mall cops. Yeah, I can't have people wandering through my shop. I mean, anytime somebody stops by, yeah, you go in the shop. But if I had a meetup, I can't have like 75 people walking through here. Unless you walk through here, you keep your hands clapping. That's all. That's what I tell people. You walk through there, I want to hear your hands clapping all the way to the office. Yeah, better. That's right, Jaron. Yeah, selling. Nah, I wouldn't sell tickets. If I was gonna have a meetup, I'm not gonna sell tickets. Outside of my brain, what's one tool I couldn't live without? A computer, just a general PC. You hate customers in the workshop? I don't mind. If customers come out, in the shop, because customers come to my shop all the time. My doors are always open. They come and shop. I got some in the office. Like they'll come in, like, "Hey, can you do this?" Be like, "Well, go in and set up a date." So I don't care. I don't care if they come out and shop, and I just tell them, if I'm going to hit your car with a big hammer, I'm going to do it whether you're looking or not. So I have nothing to hide. Dropping 10mm sockets there. I bet you would too. Oh, Trinity. You better go check that one, girl. Around here, no one is allowed in the shop due to insurance reasons. Actually, Jimmy, that's all we always say. It's due to insurance reasons. Your insurance company tells you to tell them it's due to insurance reasons. The fact of the matter is, I'm a sole proprietor, but I'm an LLC, corporation. I'm still, which gives me some limited liability separation from an accident, as far as somebody suing me personally versus suing Self-Made Auto LLC. However, if they come out and I drop a car on their head, of course, then they're going to sue the business, and then they're going to sue me personally because I dropped a car on their head. It's all just a bunch of mumbo jumbo. If somebody's going to sue you, you're going to get sued. It's just the bottom line. Anybody can sue anybody nowadays for anything. It's just how deep are your pockets. That's what it comes down to. Who has more money and who's going to opt out first when they're in court. Yeah, barking spiders. It was more like she stepped on a bunch of them. Yeah, limited liability. Exactly. It's real limited. But we are going to have to go in about 10 minutes to go pick up the boys. Yeah, we got to go in 10 minutes. Yeah, it is sad. It's just, it kind of sucks how it works, but that's how it works. Am I far from Williamsport? No, not too bad. Just have them wear safety glasses. Getting something in their eye in the shop is the least of their worries. Usually if I'm like under a car and I'm using a torch and doing some exhaust, I see a customer getting too close. I just keep heating that up, get my big old red turd on there and let that baby hit the floor. That usually gets them back. Like I said, I don't mind a customer in the shop. I don't want to turn around and be like, like, hey, stepping on their toes all the time. You can watch all day, sit out there and smoke cigarettes, eat your lunch, whatever you want to do. I don't care. Do I have a main license excuse plate? I have a main license plate. All right, see you later, Scott. Saying 1970. Yeah, you know how it is, Blazer. I mean, it doesn't bother me either. But yes, I do, Ron. I do have a main license plate. No, I don't smoke. No. Did I sell the Rex Civic? Oh yeah, I did. I only had it for like a week. Yeah, I do have Tennessee license plates. I've got most of the U.S. now. But do you have whiskey plates? I don't think so. Wild Atlantic Wave videos on YouTube and see when you get there. I will check that out, TDM. Been watching a lot of off-road videos lately. Like I said, having not owned a Jeep for 12 years, I've been checking around to local, Jeep clubs and stuff like that around here. And I've been out of the Jeep scene for so long. I'm trying to get things kind of squared away. So when mine is finished, that, I'm not going to build it so it's a mall crawler. I'm going to make it so it behaves on the road, but, really good off-road. So that's all I'm going to say. Oh yeah, I got a lot of Jersey plates. Do I work on hybrids? I don't, Ed. They're just simply not in my area. I have 2 customers that have, Priuses. I do all the basic service work. But as far as, anything to do with, the hybrid electrical portion of the car, no, it would be, it'd be prohibitive for me to get, training and get very fluent on those cars when, frankly, the 2 customers that I have that actually have hybrids, I don't know if they've ever had any, hybrid service work done to it. Oil changes, brakes, coolant changes, stuff like that. But, I would hate to put, hundreds of hours into training and knowledge. Not that it's useless. It's just by the time I needed it, it's like, what's the point? When am I getting a new lift? I'm hoping to get a new lift this summer, or I am getting a new lift this summer. Now El Cheapo, I have to be El Cheapo, and I'm not going with a Mohawk. I will be going with another Ben Pack, a different model, quite a bit bigger than what I have.
Papa,
What, sweetie?
how many more minutes till we pick up Gavin and Evan?
About 4. Do I have a dinner plate? We do have a dinner plate. Make a video of the install day. There's really not much to putting them in. Stand them up, mark your measurements, get your center line with your door, and hang on to the old concrete drill. Do I think flat rate promotes dishonesty? Absolutely. If you want to make money, why wouldn't it? That's why I would never want to work at a shop that, paid on flat rate. Just in general, if you could put me on salary or hourly, I would be much happier on that. It definitely creates a lot of pressure, whether, a guy is dishonest and uses it to his advantage, perhaps, but let's be realistic. Let's say they get paid 3/10 of an hour to diagnose a car. Forget it. Unless it's a pattern failure, you're just going to have to take a guess. Load up the cannon. In 3/10 of an hour, what are you going to do? Pull a code and take a guess. That's what you can do in 3/10 of an hour, unless it's a pattern failure and you already know what's wrong with it, or think you know what's wrong with it. So that, in my mind, that's ridiculous. I've got tons of World Fair plates. Yeah, a bunch of them are up here on the other wall. Yeah, and I'm not saying every guy, Anthony is gonna, wing a guess if they're paid on flat rate, but not going to get paid for if you're working for the man. You end up having like 2 hours to find out legitimately what is wrong with that car, which is very plausible. I would say an hour minimum. I charge. I have an hour flat fee that I tell customers. How much to look at my car. That's 1 hour labor. To 100% tell you. Here's what's going on. Bottom line. If for whatever reason I need more than that, it's a simple phone call. I call the customer and say, look, here's where we're at. I've gotten this direction. Here's where we're heading with it. I have, good proof to, keep moving forward if you'd like. I might need another hour's worth of time. So I can't imagine I'm the only one that runs into that. So at the dealership, what if the guy has, he's a good person. He wants to do the best job he can. He has 2 hours. He needs, 2 hours to diagnose his car. And now, his manager is going to flip him a $5 bill and be like, well, there's your cut. Toolbox has wheels on it. I'd load it up. I would just quit my job. I would go find a job somewhere else who's going to pay me for what I know and pay me for my time. I mean, I don't understand why that can't be done. So, but there is a little bit of checks and balance to it too, because, he might know he's got this diag, he wants to do it right. And the next thing he's got an intake job and he knows a 4-hour shortcut on it. So he's going to try to bang that out to, make up for this. And I don't know. I call it the stupid game because you just end up playing the stupid game, the back and forth. And I don't know, just pay me. Just pay me for my time. That's all I want. Let's see. What do we got going on here? Do I still drink Black Rifle coffee? Absolutely. Got me a fresh sticker over there because the shipment showed up. I'm on automatic delivery with them. Oh, your car won't start, Ed. What's wrong with it? Probably your spark plugs. Go change all 12 of them. It's obviously a little joke there. Have I ever worked for a fleet? I have, Jose. I believe it's Jose. Josie, one or the other. I've worked for fleet or companies who own fleets. Like when I worked for my dad, there was a lot of fleet companies that came through there. Yeah, I did see that, Aaron. Thank you. Well, if he has 13 spark plugs, Darth, then he's going to have to change all of them because he did say his car did not run. So definitely all of them. When I retire, who's going to take over? I don't know, man. That's not for like another 30 years, I imagine. But it is time, folks. I do have to go pick up the chillins. We got to go pick up your brothers, honey. Okay. All right. Yeah. So I'm going to get out of here. I know it's kind of a random live stream, whatever. Nothing really to talk about much. Want to check, see what you guys are up to. Shoot the breeze. So I'm going to get rolling. Be on the lookout for some new videos. Got some things up in the queue. Nothing real fancy. Kind of some same old video stuff. You guys seem to keep on watching. I'm going to try to get some more videos out with Mr. Josh in the near future because that seemed to be very well received. More so than I had anticipated that would, so that's good. And I got to get going. We're going to be late, so I got to roll. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for all the blue wrenches, keeping all the cronies in line, although I didn't see much deleting going on over here. So that's good. Thank you guys for being respectful as you stop by and visit the SMA live stream and, keeping things calm over here. And you too, TDM. Thanks for stopping by. And all you guys. I could do all right, guys.
No,
Glenn always says,
I don't leave.
take it easy. I think that's what Glenn says, right? Take it easy, huh?